Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn how to factorize expressions. We've got 4 success criteria, and the first one is to find factors of numbers. A factor is a number that fits into a number without remainders. So a factor of 12 would be 4, because 4 goes into 12 without any remainders. Factor pairs of a number are 2 whole numbers that multiply together to make up that number. So a factor pair of 15 would be 3 and 5, because 3 times 5 is 15. So what are the factors of 18? Well, if we start by writing down factor pairs of 18, starting with 1, so we can have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, because 2 times 9 is 18, 3 and 6, 4 doesn't go into 18, so 4 is not a factor of 18, 5 doesn't go into 18, so it's not a factor. 6 does go into 18, but we've already got 6, so that means we can stop. So the factors of 18 are 1, 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. There's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. HCF stands for highest common factor, and the highest common factor is the biggest number that is a factor of both numbers. So for instance, the highest common factor of 8 and 12 is 4, because 4 is the biggest number that goes into both 8 and 12. If we want to find the highest common factor of 12 and 15, if we start by writing down the factors of 12, so that would be 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Then we write down the factors of 15, so that's 1 and 15, and 3 and 5. Then we look for numbers that are in both lists, so these would be common factors. So we've got 1 and 3. But we want the highest common factor. So the biggest number that's a factor of both 12 and 15 is 3. So the highest common factor is 3. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 1. So now we're going to move on to number 2, and this is to factorize simple expressions. So factorize means put into brackets, and it's the opposite of when we expand brackets. So if we want to factorize 2x plus 4, we need to think about the biggest number that will go into 2x and 4. So the biggest number that goes into 2x and 4 is 2. So 2 goes on the outside of the bracket. Now we need to think, what do I times 2 by to make 2x? Well, I times it by x. And what do I times 2 by to make 4? Well, I times it by 2. So that's my answer. 2 brackets x plus 2. Here's another example. So I want to factorize 12x plus 9. So I need to think about the biggest number that will go into 12x and 9. And that's 3. So 3 goes on the outside of the bracket. So now I need to think, what do I times 3 by to make 12x? Well, I times it by 4x. And what do I times 3 by to make 9? Well, I times it by 3. That's my answer. 3 brackets 4x plus 3. Here's another example. So I want to factorize 6x minus 4. So I need to think about what goes into 6x and minus 4. Well, 2 goes into both. So 2 is on the outside of the bracket. And what do I times 2 by to make 6x? Well, I times it by 3x. And what do I times 2 by to make minus 4? Well, I times it by minus 2. So that's my answer. 2 brackets 3x minus 2. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So we need to first of all look for the biggest number that will go into 8x and minus 16, and that's 8. So 8's on the outside of the bracket. So what do I times 8 by to make 8x? Well, I times it by x. And what do I times 8 by to make minus 16? Well, I times it by minus 2. So my answer is 8 brackets x minus 2. Here's another question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So again, in this question, I need to think about the biggest number that will go into 18x and 21. And that's 3. So I now need to think, what do I times 3 by to make 18x? Well, I times it by 6x. And what do I times 3 by to make 21? I times it by 7. That's my answer. 3 brackets 6x plus 7. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 2. So now we're going to move on to number 3, and this is to factorize expressions with indices. So I want to factorize 6x squared plus 3x. So as well as thinking about what number goes into both of these terms, I also need to think about what letter is in both of these terms. and they both contain an x. So what goes into 6 and 3? Well, that's 3. And they've also both got an x in them. So I can take 3x on the outside of the bracket. Then I need to think, what do I times 3x by to make 6x squared? Well, I times 3 by 2 to make 6, and I times x by x to make x squared. So I'll have 2x there. Then what do I times 3x by to make 3x? Well, I just times it by 1. So my answer is 3x brackets 2x plus 1. Here's another example. Again, I need to think about what number goes into 15 and 6 and what letter goes into both of these terms. So 3 goes into 15 and 6, and they've also both got an x in them. So I can take 3x on the outside of the bracket. What do I times 3 by to make 15? Well, I times it by 5. And what do I times x by to make x squared? Well, I times it by x. So I need 5x there. Then what do I times 3 by to make 6? Well, I times it by 2. And what do I times x by to make xy? Well, I times it by y. So I need 2y. So my answer is 3x brackets 5x plus 2y. Here's a question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So let's think about what will go into both of these terms. Well, 2 will go into both, 8 and 14, and they've also both got an x squared in. I can take 2x squared on the outside of the bracket. Then what do I times 2x squared by to make 8x squared? Well, I times it by 4. And what do I times 2x squared by to make 14x squared y? Well, I times it by 7y. So that's my answer. Here's another question for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to see what you should have done, press play. So for a question like this, start with the numbers and think what goes into 20 and 10. Well, 10 goes into both. Then think about what letters are in both. Well, they've both got an x squared in, because x cubed is just x squared times x, and they've both got a y in as well. So we can have 10x squared y on the outside of the bracket. Then what do I times 10 by to make 20? Well, I times it by 2. And what do I times x squared by to make x cubed? Well, I times it by x. So I need 2x there. Then what do I times 10x squared y by to make 10x squared y? Well, I just times it by 1. So that's my answer. Here's some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. And there's your red answers. And now we've completed success criteria 3. So now we're going to move on to number 4, and this is to apply factorising to shapes. So the area of this shape is 10x plus 30 centimeters squared. So we want to find the missing length. So the area means I do the length times the width. So I've times 5 by something to make 10x plus 30. So if I factorise 10x plus 30 with 5 on the outside of the brackets, that will give me the length of the rectangle. So what do I times 5 by to make 10x? Well, I times it by 2x. And what do I times 5 by to make 30? Well, I times it by 6. So the length of the rectangle must be 2x plus 6. In this example, the area of the triangle is 8x plus 20 centimeters squared. We want to find the length of the base of the triangle. So the area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. So we've got the area, which is 8x plus 20. If we times that by 2, that will tell us what the base times the height is. So the base times the height is 16x plus 40. So then if we factorise 16x plus 40 with 2x plus 5 inside the bracket, what's outside the bracket will be the base of the triangle. So what do I times 2x by to make 16x? Well, I times it by 8. And what do I times 5 by to make 40? Well, I times that by 8 as well. So it must be 8 on the outside of the bracket. So the length must be 8 centimeters. Here are some questions for you to have a go at. Pause the video, and when you're ready to mark your work, press play. Here are your answers. So there's your green answers. There's your amber answers. There's your red answer. And there's your purple answer. And now we've completed success criteria 4. So now that we've completed the last objective, it's time to end the video. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you found it useful. Make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out the other videos on the rest of the channel. I'll see you next time. See ya.